1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the podcast is a go. Welcome back to the pod.
What's going on?
Really? You want to go like that?
I don't know. What?
It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. Yeah.
We always usually start our podcasts with "It's been a minute" because usually the way that these things start is that a calamity is taken place and then we are resumed.
No, I feel like our episodes are more like we just come back here to explain our hiatuses.
Yes.
But I feel like this one is the most well explained one.
This one is
Or
the most genuine.
justified.
Yeah. The most genuine, the most justified. If we don't take time off for this reason, then I don't think we take time off. We're not allowed to take time off at all.
Yeah.
And the reason being, we got Corona, man.
We got COVID.
We got the COVID.
Here's the thing. There's a disparity, right?
Yeah.
People who aren't that privileged, they get Corona.
Yeah.
The privileged class, they get COVID-19.
All right. That's a hot take.
It is a hot take.
That's a hot take.
That's been my experience.
So we get COVID.
Yeah.
The person that we were trying to save ourselves from, the person that we were trying to save COVID from the most was our dad.
Yeah.
He brings COVID to the house.
He brought COVID to the house.
He was the first one to get infected.
Yeah.
And for some odd reason, we all thought it was a flu. He thought it was
a flu. So a few things went wrong.
Yes, please tell me what went wrong.
Because we've had a few COVID scares. I think we should talk about that first. Like,
Yeah.
we've had COVID scares. Mostly
Like everyone
from you.
else, like a bunch of them.
You had we had a few close calls, and then we had a few scares where you caught a fever,
Yeah.
and we isolated you, and then you went for a couple of tests.
Yeah. All negative.
So we were playing it safe then, but here it was more of our dad, and he's kind of like the person in command. So telling him what to do it's not something normal.
Also, he's supposedly the safest because he doesn't go anywhere.
He's also the most learned
Yeah.
because he's a pharmacist by profession, right?
Yeah.
So he knows the symptoms and the medical terminology with everything going on.
So we trust him.
So we trust him that he would make the good calls.
Well, I mean, it wasn't really on him. Like, he didn't really know how he was going to get it. He just got it.
No, but there was a lot of assumptions, right? Why was he assuming that it was the flu? Like, this is not the
Yeah.
flu season.
Yeah. It's really hard to convince your parents.
Yeah, especially
About-
at this age, it's hard to.
Yeah, that's what I learned.
Yeah.
But anyways, he brings it. He's got the vid.
He
he's
was the one who
positive.
contracted the virus. Yeah.
A few scares for our friends as well. Gave them a call. People that we met in the span of the past 48 hours, and they all got isolated immediately.
And it's also important to mention that we don't really go out much. Like, we have a few friends. I have a few friends in my circle. You have a few friends in your
Yeah.
circle, and they're all like part of our quote unquote bubble, right?
Yeah.
They don't go anywhere. We don't go anywhere. We just meet each other.
Yeah.
And I think for some odd reason, I didn't meet my friends for like the week before that.
Yeah.
And that's when my dad got the virus.
And then so we get whoever we met in the past 48 hours, we're giving them a call. Like, guys, like, please get checked. And alhamdulillah, like, none of them got positive.
Yeah.
And we all thought that just because we were such close quarters with our dad, that we're definitely all positive.
Yeah.
So we didn't get bothered to get checked for like a few days.
Yeah.
And then you were the one who was like, you know what? Why don't we just get it checked? Because we started to feel symptoms.
I was the one who was making the same calls.
Yeah.
I was the one who, my dad wasn't even, he didn't want to get tested after showing symptoms. I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, you should get tested. He's like, no, it's just a flu. I'll get better in a few days. And then he just deteriorated.
Yeah. His health just started to decline, and then that's when we got him tested.
And yeah, so luckily we booked the test in advance, and by the time we got the results.
So you and mom get tested. And
No,
then,
so like also the funny part to mention is that I don't think it's funny, but it's the scary part is that so this all happened like the first week of Ramadan, right?
Yeah.
First to second week of Ramadan,
Yeah,
where it initiated. And so once my dad gets tested, his symptoms are still like mild. So he's
Very
still,
mild,
active and moving around. He gets tested one day, and then the next day he gets the results. And he's like standing in front of me face to face. He's like, yeah, I'm COVID positive.
yeah.
And I'm like, you're like, why are you telling me this in my face?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then so we
But
just
I think at that time we all assumed that because he has it, we all have it. Just because we're such in close quarters, we eat on the same table, we watch TV together. It was Ramadan, so we were watching Badami a lot. That was a vibe. But because of that, we were just like, okay, if one person has it, there's no way that we don't have it. But you were like, okay, let's just get tested just to make
be
sure.
safe, yeah. I like to always be safe.
The three of us get tested. 2 of us become positive. 1 of us is not positive.
Yeah. Yeah,
I was not
that
positive.
was like very weird
How was I not positive?
because we were like having dinner together every night at the
Every
same
night
table.
we're having dinner together because we're just like, okay, we definitely have COVID.
Yeah.
But you and mom become positive. I'm not positive. I am now suddenly isolating in my room. Me.
Yes.
Away from you guys. So you guys have taken over the house. It was like a zombie apocalypse where the zombies have taken over the area and now I am secluded in my little bubble.
Yeah.
And then we get a few scares. Dad's health starts deteriorating. We get an ambulance scare. Alhamdulillah, he's fine. It's just an irritation in his trachea. Nothing wrong with the lungs. No sleeping pneumonia. Something that we were scared of. It's about your 10th day. You're like all of you guys. You guys starting to feel better. And I go down wearing my mask and everything. And I start feeling a little thing, something in my chest. And I'm like, what is that? Come back up. About hour and a half later, I start feeling flu and fever. And then the next hour, I'm just in bed. I am hitting the sack because my body's hurting so much and my fever is at 101.5 or something. And that's when I'm like, I think I got it.
And that was the point where we were getting better, right?
You guys were on your 10th day, yeah, 9th, 10th day.
And like the funny thing is, like all four of us had it, and all four of us had like varying symptoms.
Yeah.
So it started with my dad, where he had a flu, a body crushing fever.
Yeah.
He had a lot of coughing as well.
Yeah.
And that just kind of gotten worsened with every single day, right?
Yeah.
And then our mom caught it from him because obviously they're in the same room, same vicinity. And she started off with mild symptoms, cough, fever.
Yeah.
And then I got it, and I think I had literally all the symptoms that are possible for COVID. I lost my sense of taste and smell. I think a couple of days after I tested positive, had the worst fever possible.
Yeah.
Like literally everything in my body, every joint in my body was hurting.
Yeah.
And then I also had a very weird symptom of, I think it's called conjunctivitis, where I was feeling like it was a terrible headache. And I felt like my eyeballs were going to pop out. I couldn't open my eyes. And then so that lasted for a few times. And then shortness of breath, can't even speak for a couple sentences. Weakness is like a post symptom, right? But
remember, you would like go up and down the stairs and then you just feel tired.
Yeah. Yeah.
And weak, like I couldn't pick up my mom would bring milk to drink. I couldn't pick it up because my hands would be shaking.
I guess the timing wasn't the best because obviously Ramadan, and not to say that I'm the most religious person in the world, but I kind of had a streak going where I didn't miss a single fast since grade 6.
Jeez.
So that's like a 10, 11 year streak. And like, damn. I'm talking like making fasts from Karachi, the heat wave, everything. And
playing sports,
even here through work, school, university, exams, everything. Like we don't miss it. Right.
But I guess this is a legitimate reason to miss it.
And it was just not possible to fast because it was just a lot of weakness.
The weird thing was we were getting dehydrated.
Yeah.
With me, it was like I was getting fevers every 6 hours. So every 6 hours, the fever would break. My entire body would just like sweat.
Yeah.
It would just be like a dump of sweat. And then my shirt would be wet. Like my entire pillow would be wet, my neck. And then I would get dehydrated. And then I would need water.
So that was happening with me too. Like I was having the chills and then sweating, and then a fever on and off.
Yeah, it was tough.
It was tough, but it's surprising because I reached out to a few of my friends, and quite a number of them actually had COVID themselves. So they gave me some really cool, ways to deal with the virus and what happened to them, their experiences, and I think that helped the most. Having that moral support, and then also the friends who we didn't really announce it because it's not really something that you tell everybody about, like, hey, I got COVID. Right? Yeah. But the people who did find out, they were like very kind enough to drop food.
Oh, yeah.
To be there for moral support.
Yeah.
Because we can't, legally, we're not allowed to leave the house. And also we don't want to put anybody else at risk.
Yeah, that was true. That was a hard part, just getting by.
Yeah.
That time.
It's a very like lonely time. Right?
Did you ever think you were going to die?
Not really.
Yeah, me neither.
Not really.
But there came like moments when the fever would not be breaking, and my body would just be in pain, like somebody beat me up.
Yeah, but
I was like, "Is this it?"
The other scary part initially was before when we just tested positive, was we know people who've died from this virus.
Yeah,
We've like one of our moms best friend's husband, who's a very young person. He's a doctor himself.
Great man.
Great man. We met him so many times, and he just, for nothing wrong with him, no underlying conditions, just passed away. We
Yeah,
went to
that was
the
scary.
ICU, and that was like also very recent.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was very daunting. But
So when did you actually have that thought?
um,
Like, this is it.
probably not for myself. Like I thought I was doing pretty good, but there was a few scares for probably our dad, because he has a probably a heart condition as well.
Yeah.
And probably his immune system wasn't the strongest.
Yeah. I think he had the worst reaction.
Yeah.
Out of all of us.
Yeah.
I think we did okay. The thing with me is I still can't taste or smell. It's been about
At all?
no. Well, it's better now. Like it's
Okay.
about 50 to 60% better, but I still can't taste. I don't see. Here's the weird thing now. So I don't know when I'm tasting chocolate if it's the taste I remember of chocolate or is this the chocolate that I'm tasting in present. That's the weird thing about food. So the food that I haven't tried or I don't eat a lot tastes a lot weirder than the food that I eat all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know what psychology that is, but that's how it is.
I've had my sense of taste and smell back. I would say about 85%.
Yeah.
So I can taste most of the food, but yeah, with the loss of sense of taste and smell, the weird part was also like, because me, mom, and papa, we were like having dinner together every night.
Yeah.
You were in your room, and my mom was feeling amplified sense of taste. Like
She was sensing all the tastes more than she should.
more than even normal.
Like sweets would taste extra sweet to her, and salt and savory food
Yeah,
would taste extra
super salty.
Yeah.
And then we would be like, "There's no salt in this." My mom would be like, "There's too much salt in this."
Yeah.
So
See, that's weird.
yeah. But also, like, in hindsight, looking back, I think we as human beings, we don't really, we take the sense of taste and smell for granted. We never say thanks for it.
I don't think I ever acknowledged it.
Yeah, and it's such a big part of your daily life. Like, you're having breakfast, you're putting perfume on, different things are identified by their scents and how they smell.
I didn't realize how important smell was for appetite.
Yeah,
Like, I did not want to eat anything.
I would always question my mom when she would make biryani and be like, "Why are you putting elaichi in like all these
Put
cinnamon,
all of
like
it.
why?"
all of it.
And she would be like, "It's for the smell." I'm like, "I don't care about the smell. I
The
care about how
aroma
it tastes."
is so important.
It is. It's part of the whole experience. Yes.
And every time, like, you guys would drop food at the door and I would bring it, I did not want to eat it. I was basically tricking myself into eating food while I was watching The Office or Seinfeld or Friends.
yeah,
As I was watching it, I would just feed myself so
just
I didn't.
swallowing.
I was literally just swallowing it so I could trick my brain into thinking that I'm eating, or trick my brain into thinking that I'm not eating, I guess, while I was eating. And then I would look down and I was like down a roti and I was like, okay, good. Because it was just like the worst, bro.
Yeah. And you don't think that it'll ever happen to you? You open the TV, you see numbers on the television, like 3,000 cases in Ontario, in Toronto,
Yeah.
or what's happening in India, and you're like, okay, that's just the news, right?
Yeah.
But until it happens to you, that it gives you a massive shocker, like, yo, it's real, it can happen.
Yeah.
It's happened to us. We're going through this. We're living through it.
The weirdest part was that you and I have rooms side by side, and all we have is like a 2-inch drywall between us.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see you for a month.
Yeah, and
I did not physically see you for a month. And when I came out of the door, you were bald.
I have to admit that I kind of missed seeing, like,
Yeah,
your face.
like we have some friendly banter going on inside the house. That's what keeps the house fun.
Yeah.
And it wasn't happening.
It wasn't happening, and then so obviously that's also another reason why the pod couldn't come out.
The pod could not come out.
Because you had an idea, like, once we tested positive initially, that you were like, "Yo, let's do a pod. This is like clickbait material."
I was like, bro, we should do a pod while we have COVID because we both have COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just do it. Let's do the COVID podcast. But then I tested negative. You guys tested positive. Suddenly I'm indoors, and you guys are like out there roaming around in the house.
Yeah.
And then when you guys are done, I'm indoors because I'm now tested positive. So the timing never really met in that sense.
Yeah, we couldn't come in sync, I guess.
Yeah. And then, yeah, I mean, yeah, it was weird. I didn't ever think that I was going to die though. Like it didn't come across.
I mean, we're all gonna die.
No, I didn't think I was going to die in the moment of
Oh.
COVID. Like as I was freaking out, I thought I was freaking out. The worst thing about COVID for me was the loneliness and the solitude, because
Mhm.
I, for one, was in this room for 20 days.
Yeah, you're pretty much on your own. There's like nothing anybody else can do for you. It's just you, your immune system,
And and
and
it's the thing is, it was the first time after a long time that I was alone with my thoughts. And I was like, damn, what's going on in here?
I don't know if that's if you want to like talk about that or if
Yeah,
that's
sure. I just didn't
it's a
know.
dark place.
Like, I didn't know myself as much as I thought I did until like you are locked in like a cell basically for 20 days.
How has this COVID experience changed you or your perspective on life or in any way?
I realized that I want ended procrastination. Like the friction that you and I had before COVID about this podcast,
The resistance.
the resistance, that just died, bro. Like once you come that close to like death, in the sense that people are dying from this, people we've known have passed away from this, it just becomes one of those things. It's like when there was a study that people actively start changing themselves once they go through a near death experience, right? Be it a car accident, plane crash, whatever it is. People get robbed all the time
But why do we need those experiences to change the way that we're living?
because
Is it-
monotony is contagious. We always confuse movement for motion. Always. Right, I'm about to blow your mind. Movement for motion, which means that if you go from point A to point B and back to point A, you just cover distance. You didn't do any displacement. But when you go to point A to point B to point C, from A to C, there's displacement. That's physics, right?
that's growth.
That's growth. So we get so used to going back from point A to B to back to A that we confuse that for movement, and it becomes easier for us to recalibrate our lives. But once it's like the Truman Show. Once you start noticing things, and you're like, wait, I don't want this monotony. I want to get out of here. And then you start feeling the resistance from everywhere else. You're like, why do these people don't want me to get out? And near death experiences are like that.
Was this your first?
No, I've had near death experiences, but nothing of this sort, where
Mm.
I am a part of a global pandemic
Yeah.
and I could potentially infect other people. I can't see my best friends. Can't go out, can't go to the grocery store. Bro, when I went to Walmart after a month, I was like, I love Walmart. I love everything about it. Even though I absolutely hate Walmart. But in that time when I was walking through the aisles, I was like, what? These aisles are so beautiful. There's so much food here.
Yeah.
Where does this food? Like, I was just in wonder for the longest time after I came out. The skies are so blue. And literally, when I went into isolation, spring had just begun. And when I came out of isolation, spring was like at full throttle. And I was like, everything is green. Everything is blue. Everything is bright.
Mm-hmm.
It's sunny. It's warm. I could be in a t-shirt. It was just really weird to me. I was in like a time machine, and then I just come out and everything is just, because the days in isolation start to blur.
You
don't-
lose track of days. Yeah.
Days and time and like what is an hour doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, and like what really matters in the grand scheme of things, because here you are, trying to fight for your life,
Mhm.
basically.
That's what I felt a lot of the times. And so I started reading about why we get fevers when we get a virus and all those things. And it's basically when you get a fever, that's the moment your body's fighting the virus. And when the fever breaks is when your body wins. And then there's another attack of the virus, and then your body fights it again. That's when you get the fever again, and then it breaks. And then the cycle repeats for days. So I was like, okay, this is weird. This is cool. This feels like Lord of the Rings. The viruses are the orcs, and my body is whatever the other people were, the elves. I felt like that for most of the time. The one positive thing that came out of the isolation period was I started getting into more literature and more shows. So I watched like 3 shows and during my isolation, 3 really good shows actually. And I started reading more, read Stardust by Neil Gaiman, and whenever I could, because my eyes were hurting a lot, but I felt like, oh, this is like my brain opened up, because there's only a few things you can do: stress, feel anxious, and then you get tired of those things. And how many times you're gonna call your friends and talk about the same old things?
Yeah, and that's also like one of the reasons why I was like, it's better not to tell anybody, because it's just people check up on you, which is good. I mean, that's good. I like it's good to be checked up on, but
Yeah.
like to tell everybody the same story
Gets
repetitively
repetitive,
over
yeah.
and over again, that's draining itself, and you'll already have limited energy.
I got into yeah, English football,
Yeah, I've heard.
right?
Yeah.
So I called Sadek, I called O7. I was like, I think I want to get into Premier League football. Like, help me. And they were like, oh, okay, what team do you want? Like, they were all immediately selling their own teams that they support. And I was like, no, I don't want the big six. I don't want the Liverpools and Man U's and Man
I think it's
C's.
because they have not just because they're big six, but because they have bigger other reasons why they support Man U,
Sure, like, I get
they've,
it,
They've
but-
been Cristiano Ronaldo fans. They've been David Beckham fans.
Yeah.
Wayne
Rooney.
Rooney fans. So
Yeah,
that's just
Lampard,
why
Gerrard
Lampard,
fans.
Gerrard. Yeah, that's why they've like kind of stuck.
And I get that, and that's awesome. But I just didn't. I started taking notice of English Premier Football after the European Super League scandal happened.
Yeah,
If you heard about that,
yeah.
they tried to form like the big three in cricket. You know, remember England and Australia and
Mhm.
India were doing that. That's what they were trying to do, and nobody was having it. So I started getting into podcasts. Shout out to the Kickoff, the Kickoff, really good podcast for football fans, and I started learning more about these clubs, and they have history, and they've been there since before the First World War, and like, oh my God, these are amazing things. And then I started getting into the English Premier League. Okay, so Man U's won this many titles: Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal. I wanted to go with a team that was competitive, but also underdogs. So after extensive research, like 3-4 days, because I had nothing else to do, so all I was doing was watching like sports documentaries, and Ted Lasso also was a big part of that.
Yeah.
I got into Leicester City, and I was like, this is a good club. I like it. Jamie Vardy's pretty amazing. And then the first game I watched was Newcastle United versus Leicester, and Leicester lost 4-0. And I was like, what is this game? Why is it that every team that I support loses? Toronto Raptors out of the playoffs, right? Pakistan cricket team, don't even get me started with that.
They've been doing good recently.
Don't even get me started with the history of this team. Like, I've been this is probably Pakistan cricket team was probably the longest fandom that we've been a part of any team, right?
Yeah, the longest team that we supported.
Yeah, since 2003-4 we've been cricket fans. So screw them. And then now that I go into Premier League football, I choose Leicester City, who were number 3 on the board, and they lose to Newcastle, who's number 11. Like, what is this? And 4-0. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take this on the chin. Next game was with Manchester United. They beat them 2-1. I'm like, oh, this is how it feels to be. Like, this felt so good. And then I came out on social media. I was like, to all my Manchester United friends, which are a lot, I am a Leicester City fan. I am a Fox. And then they won the FA Cup for the first time against Chelsea. And then it felt good to own up to that. Like, I've never felt that with any other team, because the Raptors we support because we live in Toronto. Pakistan cricket team we support because we live in Pakistan. It's just our heritage. It's culture. I have no reason to support Leicester, except that they're amazing, and that they're underdogs, and that they fight till the end. And I loved that about them.
Yeah, I'm not really that into Premier League football, but I know like my friends are big fans. They're huge fans, fanatics actually.
Yeah.
Like their lifelong dreams have been to go to Manchester, watch games, which one of them has. The other one's like life goal bucket list is he's a Liverpool fan, to go to Anfield and watch one of the games.
AR. Shout out to AR.
Yeah, so there's a lot of history and heritage.
All of your friends who are in proxy, my friends as well, literally congratulated me. I felt like I won the Leicester City FA Cup.
Okay.
Like, I was getting DMs by people on Twitter and Instagram, like, yo, congratulations, bro. I was like, I've only been a fan for 2 weeks, but they were like, no, you deserve it. You're a fan. You take it to the chin when they suck, and you celebrate when they win.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is what it feels. I get it now. I love football. And immediately I've been starting to follow like all these other teams as well. And like, I'm now cognizant of matches that are happening and players that are winning and losing and stuff like that. So it's cool. It also hurt when Leicester City got knocked out of the top 4. That happened today.
Okay.
And then I felt the true rage against Liverpool that everybody else feels. all the Man U friends were like, screw
Yeah,
Liverpool.
they
And I was like,
they
yeah,
really
screw
hate Liverpool to the guts, eh?
Yeah, and I get it. I totally get it. I'm all aboard.
Yeah.
Did you watch any movies during your isolation period?
No, I was
What were you doing for entertainment?
not much entertainment, but I was doing a lot of introspection.
Ooh.
I was.
What did you learn about yourself?
No, I was just thinking like people have died from this virus, right?
Yes.
So what if you died from this virus? How would you be looking back at your life? Like, would it be incomplete, not living up to potential?
100%.
What is even potential to begin with? But that's another podcast.
Let's do it.
But also like just introspecting, like why are we here? Like what's the purpose of our existence? And
What did you find?
and what happens after we die? And all these things.
So what did you find?
What you find is relative to what you research on.
Okay.
So
That's a very good non-answer.
exactly. So it's just a lot of people who I don't want to get religious, but
Go for bro. It's your podcast. What are you talking about?
some people are Muslims because they're born in a Muslim family.
Yeah.
Some people are Christians because they're born in a Christian family. And
Yeah.
then, so on and forth.
Inherited religion.
You inherit religion, but you never actually take a step back and
Research it.
research like what is that religion saying? What is that religion saying? What's common? How are we different? And I feel like I was a Muslim because we were born in a Muslim family and we were taught these things, but as far as we're concerned, we just know how to like read and speak and like recite Arabic, but we don't even know what we're reciting.
Okay.
So just doing that research and finding other purpose of existence, and also doing a study of comparative religion. So starting off from Judaism, Christianity to
Oh
Islam.
wow, you went on like a whole life of pie journey in that room, bro.
Exactly, like seeing what's common, what overlaps, where the differences are, and then making a judgment on myself. So I think I'm still studying, I'm still researching, because I think you can never like know everything. But just trying to like find clarity to your everyday day-to-day living based on that.
Yeah. I went through something like that a few years ago as well. It's very tricky because if you don't find the answers you're looking for, it becomes very confusing and terrifying really quickly.
I think the answers are there. You just have to like look hard enough. That's what I'll say.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you. But it's a good expedition to go on.
Definitely, yeah.
It's important. I think everybody, especially in our age, early 20s, figuring life out, figuring what you're going to be doing for the next 40 years of your life.
Mm-hmm.
I think you owe it to yourself to figure out what you're going to be believing for the next 40 years of your life.
Yeah, because I think one thing that's like constant, and I guess because of the virus, like what we've seen like in person and in close proximity is,
Yeah.
we all have to eventually like leave one day.
Yeah.
But like, where are we going? Often people
But
say
the trap that people, sorry, I'm going to cut you off. The trap that people fall in is cynicism. People start looking at life very bleakly and myopically. And it becomes a sense of nothing matters, so why should I give a shit?
I just wonder, like people often say like so and so passed away. So and so passed away,
Yeah.
right? What passed away? Like their bodies are still here.
Okay.
We just buried them.
Yes.
So what's gone? In Urdu we say so and so intikal, right? Intikal is a different word for muntakil, which muntakil means transfer.
Yeah.
So what's transferring? Where's it transferring from to? I feel like I'm getting very, what's that word?
Existential, which is what you're getting.
Not
into.
existential, but
Are you having a quarter life crisis? Is this something we need to discuss?
There's a podcast that Dwight from The Office has. Metaphysical.
Okay.
Metaphysical.
Wow.
So yeah,
That just happened.
yeah. It's his podcast is called Metaphysical Milkshake, and he explores these different concepts of why we lie, what's the purpose of
Is it a good
existence.
podcast?
It's good, but it's on a platform that's not free. So
Luminary?
Luminary, correct? Yeah.
I'm easing into getting a Luminary subscription. They've probably got the best podcasts. They have Dave Chappelle, they have Russell Brand, they have Rainn Wilson. Pretty good names, bro, and they're getting bigger names as well soon. So I might be getting, that's a cheap subscription, $2 a month. But yeah, sorry, you were talking about Rainn Wilson's podcast.
Yeah, so I mean, that kind of started from that. Like I started listening to it last year, and he just talks about these different things, and sometimes we're just like so busy in our day-to-day monotony that we just forget to like
Introspect.
look at the bigger picture from a step back, a grander view.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree. But sometimes that grand view leaves you disappointed and it scares you. And then suddenly life loses meaning. And then you're just like, what? You do know how many people have like just lost faith after being introspective like that?
I think it's supposed to have the
Opposite effect,
contrary
but
effect.
I've seen more people lose faith than gain faith from that.
Interesting.
Have you not? We know people that have done that.
It's,
You know who I'm talking
it's
about.
easier to lose faith than to have faith.
Because
It's-
I guess you find yourself in a certain lifestyle.
Yeah.
That once you find the answer, quote unquote, you can't change your lifestyle to it, and it just is easier to refute the answer. It's easier to close your eyes and be like, there is no killer here, than to fight the killer.
Yeah. Yeah. Very much true.
So I just don't want you to go down that path, is what I'm asking.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm definitely not. I don't have that kind of lifestyle, nor do I.
Oh, ABS gets wild, bro.
What the hell are you talking about?
Table tennis table is gone. Do you have any thoughts about that before we go?
I never felt I would be that sad or that attached to an inanimate object.
I think it represented more than just ping pong for us. Sorry, table tennis, Balaj Khan.
Yeah, it's
Table tennis.
I don't know. It's just ever since I got into the game, one of my biggest dreams in my life would to be just to have a table in my basement
Yeah.
to go and play at my own luxury time, anytime that I wanted to.
Yeah.
Just to have it there, like knowing it's there, and I could just go and play anytime. And it was a great stress reliever.
Oh, definitely.
And,
It was so much fun. It was just like, yo, what are you guys doing? Nothing. Just come over. We'll play some table tennis.
Definitely, it's even like
Put some
friends
good
who
mirror
don't
on.
know how to play.
Yeah, they got better.
We come and play. We play doubles. We had multiple rackets. We had a music setup going on. We had good lighting, and people were getting better, and it was just a good time in general.
Yeah. Yeah. Rest in peace, bro. But I feel like this is a beginning. Are you okay? You want to
I was gonna rest in pieces. So it was kind of broken.
I'm just saying, I just think it opens the door for another brand new table that takes its place.
Yeah, who
and
knows?
it'll bring us more joy.
Yeah.
Because it'll fold up. This one didn't. By the end of the week, we'll probably get more Mayor. Are you excited about that?
Very excited.
Friday, last
I've-
train home.
I don't think I've ever been this excited for
This
any
is-
album.
As John Mayer fans, this is the first time we're going to be there for a release.
Exactly. So I mean, we've experienced singles that he's released in the
Yeah.
past, but his first album, I would say, normal artists they make albums. John Mayer makes records.
Okay.
He makes
that's
records,
the tagline.
and anybody who's listened to the album, I don't know if they're exaggerating or if they have some kind of a bias, that they've said that it's his best work yet.
Yeah, the rumor is that whoever's heard it has been in love with it. We've heard a few snippets. Not disappointed.
Definitely not. There's been a few leaks out there too. So
Yeah, a few leaks out there. Catch your eyes or ears for that. But new Mayor drops apparently on the 29th or 28th of May. And then the July is when they're saying the album comes out. So I'm excited for that. I think it's the only thing that's keeping me going for now.
it's the only thing that's been keeping me going since last year. Like since I've heard him mention that he's working on a record.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Cannot wait.
I think the past month and a half has been tough and strong, but I do see light at the end of the tunnel with the vaccines rolled out. Today was 53% of all Canadians got vaccinated. 59% of all Ontarians got vaccinated.
Mhm.
So there is light at the end of the tunnel. Things are opening up. The US is opened up almost. UK is opening up. Probably in a few months we'll open up as well. I cannot wait to travel. I cannot wait to see the world from a different lens after getting COVID.
Also from a
And-
different lens, because you got a different lens, right?
What lens did I
You,
get?
don't you not have a different lens? I thought you
'Cause
bought
of
a
my
new lens.
phone? No, I didn't get a new lens, bro.
Oh.
I got a new laptop. Is that what you want to talk about? The M1? You want to go there?
Have you used it enough to?
I've used it for the past 4 days, and I can tell you, as a user of technology, as a user of personal computers, this has been my best experience personal computing. I don't think I've ever used a machine that's been this easy. You know what happened right when I was hooking up the audio? I hooked it up to the interface, and all I did was connect the dongle to the laptop and nothing else. Audition picked it up. It was like, yep, you're using the UMC 404 HD. Boom, mic 1, mic 2, let's go. No codecs BS, no download this, no drivers that. Just plug it in, bro.
And how does it kind of sync with your iPhone as well?
It's seamless. So like right now we're recording on 2 iPhones as well, and then the main camera, the wide camera is our DSLR.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna airdrop it. It's gonna take me maybe 5 minutes to drop both of them, and we're done.
You sold into capitalism. You're
I'm
like,
there.
You're
Take
deep
me.
into it. You're
Take
deep
me,
into
Steve
it.
Jobs' soul. I will sell everything. Take me with you to the land of the forbidden fruit. I am there. Give me all Apple, bro. Give it to me. I'm telling you. The way my AirPods connect seamlessly from my Apple iPhone to my MacBook, like these things seem trivial and very, very weird that I'm boasting about them. But the amount of stress that I was in connecting my Samsungs to my phone, and then I want to connect it to my laptop, so I got to turn the Bluetooth off of my phone, and then now whenever I connect it, it's on my laptop, but I want to listen to none of that. Just ask me, bud. Do you want to use your AirPods on your phone, or do you want to use it on your laptop? And I'm like, my guy, I want to use it on my laptop, and boom, done. It's there.
That's great. Well, I'm glad that you're having a good experience, and then maybe
Beauty.
we can see a full review on your channel.
I'm thinking about it, but there's some things in motion right now that once they're settled, I will be relaunching my channel with more vigor and more enthusiasm, because I have major plans for that channel.
Let's go.
And the weird thing is that the videos that are up on it are getting weird traction now. Like I'm getting people watching them, and they're like, we need more. So that's encouraging to make more content and be more active there. So yeah, hopefully 2020 is our year. What is it?
That was last year.
2021 is our year, my guy. So yeah, we conquer. Closing thoughts, final thoughts before we head off.
Stay safe. If you can get vaccinated, if you have the ability, sign up to get an appointment wherever you are. Just try to stay indoors if you can, because the opportunity costs of going out and getting the virus is
higher and higher.
It's very higher, and it's totally not worth it, right? So yeah, and if you have had the virus, if you want to reach out to us for any questions, remedies, how we've coped with it, you can always send us a DM, email us or whatnot.
Yep.
And we'd be glad to answer any questions there.
Links in the doobly-doo.
Yeah, and hopefully in the next coming episodes we can be back with also a rebrand. So
yeah, which we're working on heavily. It'll be worth the wait, I think.
Yeah.
What we have in plan, I really like. It includes merch. It includes opportunities to support us in different ways. Patreon is a word that's been thrown around a lot, so look out for that.
Yeah.
Right? I guess this is Nazar and Bashaar signing out. We'll see you guys soon.